So my training, really in vivo physiology and working with animal models, cardiovascular, recording anything cardiovascular we could, cannulating anything we could. And I would say, really, although you kind of think of it as a contemporary thing, if you start chasing back in the literature, oh my gosh, this stuff was done, like 100 years ago if you start looking back far enough. And a lot of the stuff that you think you're actually doing for the first time has actually been done a long time ago. So well worth, any area you get into, start looking back into it and see historically what was, done before. One of the things that we did, we got involved in looking at bladder, urinary bladder, and one of the things we found very interesting was that, in fact, the urinary bladder tends to move a lot. It's not just sort of sitting there all the time and filling up with urine. The whole time your bladder is kind of there, it's moving around. Well, I don't know quite why, sensing things, who knows, probably actually keeping the smooth muscle in good tone even. And one of the ways we actually investigated this, it was a very neat little technique called sonomicrometry. Now what sonomicrometry actually involves has little piezoelectric crystals, and they're dinky little things. They're called crystals. They're only about maybe 1 millimeter in size. And what you can do, they're connected to a computer and a recording unit, is the little crystals, they talk to each other. And so they tell each other how far apart they are from each other. And in fact, what we used to do, we would take a bladder, which is pretty good size in guinea pig, and we would attach 5 of these little crystals onto the bladder. We'd super glue them on, which super glue is used surgically. It's no real problem. So you just super glue these little 5 crystals on, and then you can get them to talk various ways. So that one will talk to that one will talk to that one will talk to that one. So you get about 5 or 6 different measurements. Of course, now with the bladder moving all around, you can now tell what's going further apart and what's getting closer together. And you get little patterns coming up. Very distinct patterns on the bladder, just as they move up and down. And this technique, it's actually been used in gastroenterology, looking at the stomach. And originally, I think the technique was actually developed for cardiovascular, the heart, to watch how the heart was beating. And it's a very sophisticated little technique, but very straightforward, but very useful. Because what it does, if you take a bladder, say, and you try to measure pressure, the bladder's moving, but it's not always contracting in. It's not contracting in. It's kind of moving, kind of bag of worms, fibrillation almost. And so the pressure isn't changing at all. But you're getting the movement. With the little crystals, you're not seeing a lot of pressure change, but you're seeing quite vast marked movement with the little crystals showing up. And this is quite a powerful way of looking at the bladder, and it certainly is useful, I think, in identifying compounds that are going to be very effective for urinary incontinence.